Rodrigo and Gabriela called me up a couple months ago, and they were interested in having me design the album cover. I was actually super inspired by a music video that they shot for their last album on the 11/11 album, and that part of the music video had, in the middle of the song, had a record playing that kind of muted the song, and then the shot went back to the two of them just jamming. And I love that one section of it, and I thought that it really kind of talked about Rod and Gab's style. It was combining a classical vintage style with their own modern twist to it. I wanted to do something using the canvas of a vinyl record. Right when Rod and Gab and I had our first initial conversation, they were excited about the whole concept of breaking vinyl records apart to form this artwork. From that day, I kind of started putting together all my visions and concepts and sketches, and I would send it back and forth to Rod and Gab of ideas that I believed worked for each record concept. There was 9 songs on the album, and each song was dedicated to a certain person in history. And I wanted each concept to relate to that person and somehow tell that person's story. As soon as ideas started flowing, I started getting excited and thinking more about how is this album going to be unique from other albums? How are we going to make the artwork more powerful so it could live on? And I wanted not just the records to be part of the album, I wanted also the liner notes that described each of these people in history to feel like a piece of art as well. So I recruited my wife into actually helping me out on the album.
Eugene and I came up with the idea to use a typewriter for the liner notes because we were talking about all of the people in history that Rod and Gab wrote their songs for and they wrote their music about. And we decided that it would be a lot more authentic to actually use a typewriter instead of using a computer. Coming from the computer generation, this was a really challenging project for me. And not only did I have to type up all the liner notes in English, but I had to type them up in Spanish. So I was typing in a language that I didn't know. I didn't have spell check. I didn't have, a delete button that would delete a word or a letter when I messed up. So every time that I did make a mistake, I had to start over no matter how far I was in the actual liner notes. There were times when I was, on the last line and there was an issue and I had to start all over again because, this is, a typewriter and you don't have any second chances.
Well, we're starting right in the center and 5 minutes.
Then we went on to computer design and then finally into using the water jet to actually cut the vinyl record. And then after I get the image back from the water jet, I would break the record apart and glue the records down to form their own unique piece of art. So it really felt complete. It really felt like authentic, real, and rich.